Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Viplav, and today we will not talk about AI or anything on that. Better, I thought I will focus today on the playwright and mostly on the interview side. So, a lot of you are trying to get into the interviews, and most of the opening they will ask you about the playwright because nowadays a lot of companies are moving from Selenium to playwright or Cypress to playwright or any new framework if they are creating, they are using Playwright. So definitely, if you are a QA and if you are going to give interview for SDET role, you will be asked few of this question. So I have prepared a list of 10, but it will go even beyond 100. But these are the most of the questions which I got to know it is being asked in the interview. So I have prepared that list for you so that it will help you all to get yourself prepared for your next interview. So without wasting our time, let's get started. So um, let's go back. So in this deck, I will be covering like playwright fundamentals and architecture, locators, auto weights, stability, and then questions around parallelism, fixtures, framework design, network mocking, debugging, C execution. These are at the high level, which my deck will include. And here are a few tips for you. So what I think is when you are answering, it has to be direct answer in 1 2 sentences. Don't give too much. Like if somebody has asked you one small question, try to give answer in a minute or 30 seconds. Don't give a big paragraph. And if possible, try to add some practical examples if whatever you have worked on. Say playwright, if they ask you about framework, you can say, hey, we have followed pay object models and this is how our framework will look like. We had a framework which was supporting UI and API automation, and you can say we have done it from Chrome. However, it has support for Firefox as well. So like this, you can add your point about your framework if you have worked on. However, if you are a beginner, you have learned it, maybe you can have one of your work done in GitHub and you can have your personal project that you can explain. So anything if you explain, it is an added advantage so that interviewer knows that hey, you have practically worked on it. This is the most asked question. That is one. Hey, what is Playwright and why it is popular for QA and SDET team? So you can give the simple answer, but this is if you think this looks more bookish, you can tell it in your own language. But this is what ideally you can say. It is an end-to-end automation framework from Microsoft for modern web apps. It supports Chromium, Firefox, and WebKit with one API and has reliable auto waiting, built-in tracing, network control, and strong parallel execution. That you can say, and then you can compare it with Selenium or Cypress if you have worked on it, and then you can also tell a small difference between these two. And you can also mention about example if they ask, hey, so if they say, hey, how you write your simple test using TypeScript or JavaScript, so you can say, hey, this is how it is. So first you define the test method name, and then we use async await concept so that it runs sequentially. That's why we are using async await. And then to navigate to page, we have built-in function called go to, where you can give your link of the page you want to open. And then for assertion, Playwright uses expect, and we have built-in method called to have title, and so that we can verify the title, and then we can verify whether heading is visible. For that also we have two visible text. So if you want, you can add it, but this is small answer you can give. And moving to the next most important question is browser context in Playwright. So you can imagine it like you have incognito mode, which itself is a session. And if let's suppose you have 10 incognito mode and you have 10 sessions, and in each session they are all isolated, it will have its own cookies, its own local storage and permission, so they are independent to each other. And that's what browser context give you. So if you want to have an independent new session and you want to have your automation run, you can do that with the help of defining browser context. And some code snippet which I have given here in the example, we use browser.new context. That is what we use to have multiple session of the browsers, and then you can perform your operations. So one example I have here shown in the slide. You can pause the video and you can have a look. Another is how does auto waiting work in Playwright? So the best answer for this is it waits for an element to become actionable before interacting with it. So it waits for the element to get attached to DOM. It should be visible, stable, and enabled. In Selenium, you have to use like explicitly, you have to use is visible, is enabled. We remember those commands. For here, all are built in. So you don't need to add that extra 4 lines of code to make it work. Your method like get by role and get by text, get by label will take care of that thing. So you should not be worried. So it will auto wait, and you don't need to have the hard code sleeps here because of this auto waiting mechanism. So one of the example good example for here is you can use await page dot get by rule button and the name submit dot click. And the same if you want to have like uh, validation here, you will use expect page dot get by text order confirm to be visible. So like this, you can tell in the interview and give your examples. Now, next thing is why should you prefer locator over raw selectors? So the best answer for that is a locator requery the page on every action, supports auto waiting and make more readable and resilient than a string heavy CSS or XPath selector. So we must try to use the built-in methods to identify the locator like get by role, get by label, get by text. That should be our first choice. And in case if none of them worked, you can go ahead with the ID as a fallback. And we should avoid this absolute XPath, a long CSS chain. But then there is high chances that if there is any smaller chain, the locator will not work. So you must prefer the role-based locator like get by role, label, and even ID is accepted if it's not gonna change it in future. So you can have use data test ID also you can use, but we should avoid the brittle CSS chain uh, as much as possible. And one more important question we may get is how do you handle multiple tabs, pop-up, upload, and download? In Selenium, you used to use switch to alert, switch to tab. We used to make. Here, you again have an inbuilt method called wait for event that we can use, and that will help you to perform these actions. And Playwright itself has its event listener. So before triggering the action, so it will register the listener first and then click. So the event is never missed. So key point to mention here is promise.all pattern ensure listener is active before the click fires. For let's suppose you're uploading and then you get that file screen. So for that you have an inbuilt method set input files. So that will upload the file and even for downloads. So assert the suggested file name and then optionally read the file content. So here in the example here you can see we have used page.wait for event and then we clicked on the term pop-up and then we have verified the URL and then for file uploading if you see we have used set input files. So this is the answer you can give on the handling of tabs, pop-ups, uploads and downloads. One more popular question is how to test in parallel. So simple example is when you have installed Playwright, you have a config.js file. In that, we have a concept of workers. And if I made value 4, then we will have a 4 parallel session running. And like this, you will have your parallel run works when you are using Playwright. So in Selenium, you need a third-party tools, or you need to have a concept of thread local, and then you do parallel run. Here you don't need to really do that much. Here you use concept of worker, define it. It is inbuilt in config file, and run your test parallelly. And you can even do cross browser testing here, like it will run in 3 different browser. One is Chromium, Firefox, and WebKit. That also you can do. All can be achieved through playwright.config.js. So once you have your framework, you can do your changes and do the parallel run. Now, concept of fixtures, hooks, test resolution, this will definitely be asked to you. So in simple word, fixtures are those reusable set of object. Maybe you can have a browser launch and closing as a part of fixture, and anything which is repeated you can put it under fixtures. And even hooks are also very similar to that, and you can orchestrate your setup and tear down in that. uh, Next thing I would like to add here is you can see in the code example you can have a fixture.js, and then what we have done is um, the page navigation and filling we have kept it here in the fixture. And that's pretty much on the fixture we can do. So if you are asked, just use for setup TR down. We use fixture, and that's pretty much on the fixture side. Now, if you remember in Selenium for mocking, also we were using uh, other options to do that. But now in Selenium 4, we do got the option. In Selenium 3, we didn't have. Here also in Playwright, you have it built in. So you can just mock the fake data with the help of Playwright. For this, you need to use page.route, and then that will fake your data, and you can have a fake status or whatever body we want to validate. That part can be handled using page.route. and you can completely intercept the network calls if you are not getting the right response, if that response itself not exist. So that you can do with Playwright. Now, if somebody asks, hey, you have a flaky test and you got failure, how you can debug it? So there is a lot of answer to that. Hey, there are, we can go through logs, we can trace the screenshot, we can trace the video, and we can again rerun it and then check exactly at what step it is failing. So there is a lot of way, and root cause could be timing, synchronization. It could be data related. It could be the wrong locator or a locator change or environment. So all this thing we have to really see the logs and see where things are failing. Now, how would you design a Playwright framework for a real or QA SDET team? So, according to me, I think similarly how in Selenium we design it, we follow page object model, we create a good framework structure where we have a test class, and then we have a page layer, and then we have a locator layer, and then we have a fixture, and then we have a data layer, and we have utilities. This is the best framework. Still, we can tell in the same way that in Playwright also we are creating the same framework. We can have a folder structure like pages, fixture, test, data, and with some helpers, and then we have the hard playwright.config file, and then in the we can also have screenshot traces and failure artifacts wired into our CI pipeline. And in order to run case based on tags, we can also add tags like smoke regression, critical regression, like that. So this I believe is the best framework and as per industrial standards. So that's pretty much from my side on the most commonly asked question on the playwright. So I would suggest it will be good if you have a real time project experience. If not, you create your own. And if you it will be good if you have the real example of flakiness. They will ask, hey, did you face any issues, challenges, and how do you overcome if you had any flakiness? How was your CI/CD percentage? You make it such question. How did you resolve the locator problem? Have you tried self-healing? Any framework pattern? What is singleton pattern? What is page object model? So such question also you will get. But these were some of the most common question. And again, maybe this could be not the perfect answer, but I try to help you what you can say. But again, you can Google, you can yourself learn and understand what other best answer based on your personal experience you now know. So that's pretty much I told. But again, you have your own experience. My suggestion is in this AI world, you better give your own answer, what you felt, what you tried, and what you have learned yourself. So that will give you a more advantage than some bookish answer from AI or GPT. That will make you candidate who has really worked on it and who is not answering how AI is giving or GPT is giving. So that is what I think nowadays we should be. So the more real you will be, the better chances of getting selected. So with that, I hope you like the video. Please like, subscribe my channel, and that's pretty much for today. Thank you all. Bye. Take care. God bless you all.